What if we've been misreading a certain character's actions all this time? Everyone's been talking about that shocking moment from the episode, but what if we're completely wrong about Diamond and Tommy's relationship? What if there's a hint that they gave us that could change everything? Especially when, hey everyone, Just Be here, and I'm breaking down the latest episode of Power Book 4 Force, Season 2, Episode 8, titled Dead Reckoning. We're hopping into all the meaty goodness in this episode right now. Let's go. So we pick up with this episode on the heels of the death of Agent Vargas, who was taken out by Vic due to pressure by Tommy. Vic was caught up in the moment, and he's being the criminal informant and doesn't want to get caught. Succumbs to the pressure of Tommy and takes out Agent Vargas in that moment. So now Tommy's all hopped up. He's wondering what the heck did they just do. He's trying to figure out if there's any other thing that can possibly lead or connect this death to us. So Vic takes the tracker that the feds gave him to put on Tommy's car, and he acts as if it's the one they put in his car instead. And he's like, oh, look at this, Tommy. Man, they were following us, right? That makes him feel as if, okay, yeah, Tommy won't suspect me now. But guys, we know how this game goes. Tommy's been in this a long time, man. A long time. And so he knows how to smell a snitch from a mile away. I personally think that Tommy, deep down within himself, knows. I don't think he's completely dumb. I think he has a very strong feeling that Vic is a snitch, and that's why he's kind of holding him a little closer. But I think Tommy likes Vic as a friend. I think there's a friendship that they were able to form, particularly even over bonding over their respective relationships, which is weird, with Gloria. And that's why they're able to connect with each other. So I think Tommy's in denial that it could be Vic, and that's why he keeps him so close. Now, when he gets back home, he's now scoping out everything. He's like, listen, is there any bug or any wire in my apartment that can get me caught up? You know, and so now he's coming back home, and Mayetta, who spent the night over at Tommy's, catches him trying to find the bug, and he tells her in a moment, listen, I don't want to lie to you, right? I am looking for something, and I have some real feelings for you. But really and truly, if you're going to ask me what's going on with the business, I'm going to be forced to tell you, especially if you don't want to know, don't ask. But I have strong enough feelings for you enough that I'm going to have to tell you the truth. And so that shows us a lot of the psychology behind the character of Tommy now. He is growing and being more serious in his relationship with her, where now he's trusting her on the level where he trusted Lakeisha, where he trusted Holly, and now he wants to be able to be fully honest with her and be fully himself. And so she in that moment accepts that, I don't want to know, but listen, thank you for at least saying that to me. And so that now shows the increasing bond between their relationship. This episode is a big Diamond heavy episode, and I almost, in a sense, want to take back a lot of the things that I was saying about him before, mainly because of how it ends. I mean, this particular episode was, guys, this episode was phenomenal. I have not felt that kind of grit and weight in an episode of Power in a long time, and it's really due in part to how they tied this whole story together with Diamond, Gianna, and Leon. Diamond wakes up at Gianna's house after they had an evening together, and she has cooked breakfast for him, and she's letting him know, I know who you are. The streets, they've already spoken. I'm fine with it, just don't get my boy in problems. And so he promises to protect him and to keep looking out for him, and anything he deals with is not going to come to her doorstep. And boy, oh boy, does this episode really take a turn. Diamond, in his quest to prove that he is a changed man, he's a better man, and he's the right man, he makes all the right moves except the one to actually leave the game. But I don't think that's what causes what happens later on in this episode. Now we see Diamond's parole officer starting to take a little bit more easier on him. It's like people were inspired by your speech. They see what you've been through in your life. Hold on real quickly. You guys want to see something crazy? Over 99% of you guys that watch my content are not subscribed. So I'm asking real quickly, if you don't mind, just hit the like button and hit subscribe real quickly. I'd love to keep on giving this content to you guys, and lets me know that people actually are interested. Feel free to do that, man. Really appreciate it a lot. Would help me out a long way in growing my small channel. Thanks. Now back to the video. And it causes them to want to change their actions. They turned in their guns. Now, it wasn't a lot, but he said it's something. And it shows that you have influence on the streets. It shows that when you truly turn your life around, people pay attention and people care when you tell your story. He doesn't let him do the pop-up urine test this time, but he just wanted to give him some kind words and be on his way. But that's not without him being suspicious and seeing some of the guys from CBI moving some weight at the same time. Now, Leon has a speech coming up for his anti-violence activism that he's been on from earlier in this season. He has an interview tonight when Diamond and Tommy were supposed to have a meetup with another major gang over some territory and bringing them into the coalition. Diamond committed to Tommy to being there, but you can see, as I've been telling you guys all season long, watch out for the conflict within Diamond this season. What they've been trying to show us is that maybe he's thinking about coming out of life. Maybe they want us to think that the 15 years he put in behind bars caused him to reevaluate his life. Now, the streets is all he's ever known. Yes, but at the end of the day, a man still wants a family. A man still wants legacy. And he sees that within Gianna and Leon. He sees something that he never had that he can build that's all his. So as he's teaching and showing Leon how to get dressed, how to tie a tie, which is that's a very important thing, right? For a father to teach his son, I'm not saying that's his son, but I'm just saying, for a young man to learn how to tie a tie is almost a rite of passage in a sense. It speaks of a maturity, but it's more special when there's a strong male figure, a dad, an uncle, someone who teaches you how to do that, right? There's a bond that happens in a moment because it's cleaning you up and showing you and presenting you on how to be a man, how to dress like a man, how to present like a man, wearing a suit confidently. And especially because he was proud of Leon and the fact that now he's getting his attention from anti-gang violence, but Leon doesn't know who he is, though Gian knows who he is. So that's real interesting. On the way to dropping him back home, what happens is Diamond was supposed to meet up with Tommy because they are now trying to bring in the Sons of Destruction gang, who is the biggest gang that the Serbs supply in Chicago. They're saying once they bring them into the coalition, bro, we running this whole thing under Miguel. And that's going to give them much more leverage to make their way to the top. So Diamond needed to be at this meeting in order to make the best impression, because Tommy doesn't know these guys. These guys don't know Tommy. Jannard ends up getting a call from Diamond to fill in for his spot instead, while Diamond takes over to try to play daddy to Leon. But in this moment, when dropping him back home, keep in mind, Leon had been training with Diamond this season to learning how to defend himself. Chicago is a violent place. They try to also depict that in the show as well. There are some guys that lived on the street that continuously picked on Leon, and they saw him come home in a suit, and they were jealous. I mean, they're like, who are you? Who do you think you are? You coming around here? They start to get into it, and they start pushing up on him. Now, Diamond's right there. Diamond can step in. But in that moment, when Diamond sees Leon starting to take off his jacket and getting ready to fight, he's like, all right, let me see what you got, kid. Let's see if you learned what I taught you. Leon gets into a fight, and the guys pull a gun on him. And I was like, nah, man, they ain't gonna do it. And they did it. They took out Leon in that moment, and it was very, very sad. More importantly, because Diamond could have done something about it, so he is feeling guilty about it. He was standing right there. Diamond carries his peace with him everywhere he goes, but he just wanted to see Leon stand up for himself like he'd been teaching him to. So now under his watch, this kid loses his life. When Gianna comes home and she sees the fact that Leon is a cold body laying on the ground with all this police tape around, it is just a heartbreaking scene to see. In her mind, she's now starting to think, this is your fault. You're a drug dealer. You're a gangbanger. This happened because of you. There's a whole lot of feelings, and it's just a heartbreaking scene to watch as another mother on the show loses their child to the streets of Chicago. And guys, here's the thing. Again, if you remember the breakdown I did for season 2, episode 2 as well, another thing I said there was that the writer's trying to tell us, hey guys, yeah, we love the violence. Yeah, we like the action, the power. But this stuff is real. This is real stuff that happens every day, particularly even in Chicago. And so we got to think about, what are they trying to communicate to us in the longer term, right? Here's what I think. I believe that the writers are trying to communicate in the longer term that eventually Tommy's going to die. Eventually Diamond's going to die. And everyone involved in this whole circle of drug dealers are going to go away. Within the world, there has to be a balance. There can't just be Tommy and Diamond getting money and Tommy and Diamond getting to the top and little kids are losing their lives. What is going to be the cosmic repercussions, right? Not getting too deep in it, but to every cause, there's an effect, right? To every action, there's a reaction. What's going to happen now to balance this out in this universe? For all the bad that's happening, these mothers losing their kids. What's now going to happen to balance that out on the CBI side? My prediction, guys, is that much like at the ending, I think, of season 3 and for the first half of season 4, where we saw Ghost go to prison. If you guys remember correctly, Tommy's never been to prison, but he survived a lot. You only have so much time to keep doing that until you eventually get caught. I believe that there's a strong chance Tommy could get arrested and spend some time behind bars. This is a lot of death, guys, of little kids, and somebody's got to pay for it. Now, that's not to say that the kids who Leon got into a fight with were by any means connected to the first child who died in season 2, episode 2. But what I am trying to say is that violence continues violence. The streets are all motivated by gangs like CBI, gangs like the DSDs, gangs like the SODs, the SERPs. All of these guys, they carry on a cycle of violence, right, and crime. While Tommy and Diamond might not be directly responsible for Leon's death, their affiliation and contribution to what happens on the streets causes a ripple effect that comes back to their doorstep eventually. So the first one, they were kind of responsible for because it was Lil K who was going after Tommy, but this one, not so much, just kind of indirectly. So now Jamal, who was Leon's father, the same one that Diamond threatened, he comes back home now when he's supposed to be out of town because Diamond told him to leave town. And he approaches Diamond's parole officer and lets him know that my son Leon just died and they were real close. And he comes and plants a seed in his mind of doubt and says, Diamond is playing you. But that's enough motivation for the parole officer to come back to the barbershop late at night and run up on Diamond and confront him. But the problem is he comes at the wrong time. At this time, Diamond, who is feeling guilt-ridden over the death of Leon, he's just mad drunk at the barbershop. And he takes out all the cash and all the weight that one of his soldiers is moving. And he just starts to pour it all over himself and pour it all over the floor. And this scene, I think, is really reflective of, yes, the state of mind that Diamond is in, but it fully brings together the conflict that I had been telling you guys about all season in my breakdowns regarding Diamond. The conflict now is just, it's at the surface right now. It's boiling over, it's spilling over, and now he has to make a decision. Now, all he's known is the streets and the ring. So how is he gonna now deal with this? You see that he looks at the money and the weight in his hands and he's like, is this all worth it? Is this all I can amount to? Am I better than this? Am I bigger than this? So Tommy comes to the barbershop and sees him in this state. See, they start getting into it and Diamond goes ahead and says it. He's like, listen, I'm Diamond Sampson. I'm a drug dealer. I get kids killed. And that shows you where he's at within the conflict with himself. I can't do better than this. I can't be better than this. This is who I am. Even when I try, I fail. Even when I try to be the good guy, I fail at it. So Diamond's PO officer catches them in that moment. Diamond signals to Tommy, nope, don't do anything, man. Don't do anything. And so as the PO officer makes a move to go ahead and arrest Diamond, because obviously he got all this weight money on the floor, that only means one particular thing. Diamond activates, and now I have to eat crow, because where I said I thought he was too soft before, I mean, he was vicious in this moment. Diamond takes him out very, very viciously. And I had my jaw dropped to the floor when I saw that scene. But the crazy part about it is, guys, it's after they did it and he put the razor blade that he used to do it on the floor. It's the way Diamond recoiled back into the chair and just sat there looking in the mirror as if nothing happened, as if he's now transformed fully into being this animal that he believes himself to be, that he can't get away from. And the problem is Tommy will exploit that. The look on Tommy's face says it all. Like, yeah, this is the Diamond I've been waiting to see. This is the guy I need on my side. So who does Diamond become next? Well, we got to go ahead and see. But I don't think we're going to see the same Diamond as we did before, man. This changes a man. And we're going to see someone completely different, I believe. the combined task force has finally revealed themselves to Tommy, and they actually confront him. So Stacy pulls up on him, identifies herself as the U.S. attorney, and says, listen, we know that you faked your death in New York, and I know all about what you've been doing while you've been here as well. And Tommy tries to play it off and is like, oh, well, you know, you don't really know anything. I'm allegedly doing those things. And I know you ain't really got no evidence against me, so I'm going to go about my business. And then he lets her know that, well, I know that you messing with Mayetta, so I'm pretty sure Miguel won't take too kindly to that if someone pulled up on him and told him. And so he gets scared straight about that, and he wants to go ahead and be the one to make that move himself. So now he knows that most definitely the feds have now made their move and confronted him. Things are cooking and he got to be even more careful. But what's so interesting about this scene, guys, is that somebody commented on one of my videos the other day. I'm going to try to put it up here on the screen. And in the last breakdown, they mentioned this before. They said, well, why are they trying to go so hard to get Tommy on this whole RICO case when he is still on the run for being the one that was responsible for killing Ghost, also being the head of the operations of the old organization? And I thought about it, and that caused me to go back and watch a couple of episodes of Book 2, and I was like, this is true. Why are they trying to build a whole new case and wrap up all these other people and tie him? If they really just want to get Tommy, I mean, clearly you know he faked his death. And clearly you know that he was the one that was implicated by Tasha for killing Ghost and being the head of the organization back in New York. So here's your case. Just go ahead and take him. But I think they're trying to use this to wrap up, because this is now in their district, right? They're like, okay, if he's here, we're going to use this to our advantage, and we're going to try to wrap everybody up. Serbians, we're going to try to wrap up Miguel, we're going to try to wrap up the Flynns, CBI, everyone, and we're going to use Tommy to do it. So that's my theory as to why they probably haven't done that as yet. Because it's an easy slam dunk case for them just to arrest him for everything he's done already. So they're just trying to use him to get everybody else now. Now, here's how this whole thing with Vic and the task force can go away. The reason why Lieutenant Bobby was trying to get Stacy to hold up and not forcing a confession that it was actually Tommy who was responsible for taking out Special Agent Vargas, he was trying to say, listen, if you do it that way, that's going to come back to bite us. How? Well, the reality is that I looked it up. If you have a criminal informant who you pressure to give false information, or you knowingly accept false information, when they eventually get Tommy Egan, which I think they will, and bring him before the courts, it might go away with a wrongful conviction once it's found out that it wasn't actually him. And if somebody like Vic confesses to doing it, or if there's evidence that comes up that Vic was the one who actually did it. And so that is where Stacy messed up and where Bobby was trying to get her not to do that. All right, guys, that's the biggest parts of the episode that I wanted to break down today. I know there's some parts I probably missed, but I think we really wanted to get into the meat of what's happening next. Because as we see, there's another promo now where, you know, it's showing more words and saying, listen, we ain't seeing nothing yet. And so I'm just like, okay, they gonna kill off somebody else in the next episode, another big character. So we know what that means when we see promos like that, guys, now. But if there's anything else that you guys thought that I missed that was probably more important to talk about, let's talk about it in the comments. Let me know your guys' thoughts. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, help the video, guys. Until next time, peace.